Yo, 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 it's your boy Big Sweet in the building along with Big Money Sonny, Brother Albert. So today we gonna go into the highs and the lows in prison. You know what I'm saying? And I wanna ask you, what was some of the highs and lows for you in prison?
I think one of the craziest things I seen in prison was it was this dude that had just came to USP Atlanta. He was big. I mean, this dude was big. So if you wanted to bust him in the head or stab him, you had to be strategic because he was big. Looked like you stab him, looked like he may take the knife out and stab you with the knife. So I remember this guy, this same guy. So they used to open our cells probably like 5:30 in the morning. So he used to be the first one in the cell. And he used to be trying to watch a sex channel. But you know how the TV, they be rolling and rolling and rolling. So the picture wouldn't really come in, but every now and then as the TV rolled, he would get a little peep of a sex scene.
Yeah.
Right. So he'll go in there every morning. So he might be doing that for like an hour and a half. So one night after everybody came from chow and everybody done probably showered up and looking at the movies at night, it might be 30 people in the TV room. So he had got up and turned the TV off. And he was like, "Hey, let me tell y'all ML something in here. Y'all better leave me the F alone about this TV, because I already told the staff I wasn't going to F with y'all. But man, look here, man. Let me watch my TV in the mornings. Because y'all see my table, my chair right there where I sit at that window?" He said, "Man, I be watching some of y'all go to the shower. And he said, man, I really like some of y'all." And then he pointed to like 3 guys. He said, I like you, and I like you. And they were looking at him with their eyes open and he was so big. If he was in a room with them,
Yeah.
I don't know how they could have fought him off them. But he was like, "Man, I watch y'all going to the shower, man. I really like y'all, man. So y'all better leave me alone about watching this TV, man, before I go off and rape some of y'all in here."
Mm.
So dude was like, everybody was looking, nobody was saying nothing, that was one of the craziest things that I witnessed in federal prison.
Wow.
And so while we got some highs and some lows and some sad points and different type of points in prison, there were also times where we were happy about some things. So is there anything that you can think of prison, any moment that really brought you joy?
Yeah, well, like you were saying, there's a lot of ups and downs in prison, and so I think I was in Manchester, Kentucky, and I was like coming down from all the madness and the toting the knives and the stabbings and all that there. So when I got to Manchester, Kentucky, it was a camp. You know what I'm saying? So the camp, they don't have no gates. They had like 1 or 2 guards through the whole compound, and I was like, wow, I finally got a chance to relax, right? So I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm gonna do. I ain't got no drama. I ain't, I'm still a little bitter because I'm away from a family. But I enrolled back in school, and I was like, man, I done learned how to repair refrigerations and air conditions and all that there. So I was on some type of learning trades and getting my GED and just eating right and getting my body together and all that there. So man, when I got there, I was studying hard for my GED because I was like, man, all my kids don't graduate, man, this one I'm gonna do. So that really brought me joy because I ain't had no threats, I ain't had to worry about nothing. So it was a lot of joy being in, you know what I'm saying, being to that camp. And I was able to focus, you know what I'm saying, get my GED and, you know what I'm saying, this, you know what I'm saying, get my life together. And at this time, I was like, I hear them got one of my sentence reduced with the crack law. So I was like, man, they finna pass this other law with calls for everybody that got drug charges, you know what I'm saying, to get 2 levels off. So man, I was so happy. I was telling my wife, man, only thing they got to do is grant this motion, and baby, I'm coming home. So man, that right there had a lot of joy in me, lot of reasons not to want to come back to prison. You know what I'm saying? A lot of reasons, you know what I'm saying, to be to getting my mind together and getting everything situated from when I was coming home. Cause I was telling my wife, only thing they got to do is grant this thing, and I'm coming home. So man, that brought me a lot of joy. You know what I'm saying? So what about some of the some of the good points in prison for you?
Well, I mean, man, I remember myself and one of the homies. We had did our petition for clemency, and so me and him, we went to the counselor, and we turned our paperwork in the same day.
Yeah.
Right. And so President Barack Obama came out with the new clemency bill that he was signing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I kept me and the brother, we went to the counselor and took our petition back, because the way we was doing it, the counselor was gonna turn it in.
Yeah.
But when President Barack Obama came out with his program, we was able to do it on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So me and him, we went together and we got our petition back from the counselor. And then me and him, we went to the computer and I did me and his thing. I started me and his application on the computer. Mm-hmm. So to fast forward, President Barack Obama, he had did a lot of clemencies And so I would tell, when I saw the brother on the visitation with him and his wife, and me and my wife was out there because I was the first one that had got a response back, that they was gonna look at my stuff, right? And so I would tell his wife, I would say, well, don't worry about it. I say he gonna get his too. I say, don't worry about it, right? And so he had got an answer, and his petition, his process went through quicker than mine, right? And then he got the petition and he finally got out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was encouraging me from the inside, black man, yours gonna come, black man. Just keep on praying and just keep on being positive, right? So they would come out, the list would come out every Friday. So now it was getting about to the end of President Barack Obama's term, mm-hmm. right? And I remember it was two brothers. One of them name was Tyrone Richardson, and the other one was Dan Mangram. They used to tell me that they were praying for me, and they would come to the room, and when the list came out and my name wasn't on it, they would be in my room crying, because one of them said that God told them that I was gonna be on the next list. And so when I wasn't on that next list, he came down to my cell and he would talk to me and he was crying. And I had to console him, because he was crying about me. But that man, he could have been worrying about his own time.
Yeah. Right?
So maybe to the last clemency that Barack Obama was gonna sign, either the last or the next to the last, my name was on the list. But what happened first, so I was in the computer room typing one of my daughters. So a clemency list had just came out. Mm-hmm. So nobody was expecting the next 2 days that another list was gonna come out because they only like came out once a week,
Yeah.
right? So they were calling me, Brother Sonny, they calling you to the lieutenant office. They calling you to the lieutenant office. So I was like, yeah, I'm coming. So they kept calling my name over the loudspeaker to come to the lieutenant office, right? So I'm thinking that they probably gonna take me out to medical to do a colonoscopy or something like that. So I ain't in no rush getting up, right? So I take my time and I go to the lieutenant office. And so when I walk in, the warden approached me, right? And it was like 2 of the female guards that was correctional officers. They were standing behind him, and they were looking like they were about to cry.
Wow.
And so I didn't want to pay attention to them and draw attention to them, so I kept looking at the warden. So the warden would said, Mr. Campbell, I'm going to lock you up in consolidated confinement right now. And so I kind of chuckled. I'm like, man, come on, man. I don't do nothing on your compound, man, to go to no hole, right? So they say, nah, I want to inform you that we just got a call from the White House that you've been granted your clemency.
Wow.
And you know, it is a part in the Bible where they say every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. So my knees went out.
Yeah.
So I went right down into praying motion. I'm crying and I'm thanking God and I'm thanking God. And they like, and the women that stand in the back of them, they crying too. You know what I mean? So the warden said, man, you all right? I couldn't talk. You know what I mean? So that was like, man, that was the happiest news, man, that I got since I had been locked up.
Wow. Wow, yeah. You know, man, them things like that they be like so joyful that you don't be knowing what to do. Because I know when I had got my paperback for immediate release when they passed the 2 points reduction, I was like the same way, right? Cause I was waiting on the mail, you know what I'm saying? The homie Big was like, boy, sweet, the mail came, boy, they called your name. So I'm like, yeah. So I go up there, get the mail, right? So I see it's from the courts. So I'm looking at the paper like this. I'm like, man, I don't want to open this joint. So the homie like, man, open it, man. I'm telling you, man, you going to the crib, man. I was telling these dudes you going to the crib. So I'm like, nah, bro, I don't want to open it. So I'm peeping at it, so I crack it open, and I'm trying to see the thing through the paper. So I'm like, nah, man, let me go back to the cell, man. Let me go back to the cell, man, because I know this thing gonna be like. So, bruh, when I opened that letter, and the first thing I seen, it looked like it took over the whole paper. You know what I'm saying? Granted, immediate release. I looked at the homie like this, and like tears just flowed my eyes. So he was more happy for me. So he ran up in the TV room. I told y'all, dude, the homie was going home. Y'all had your things crossed on my homie. I told y'all. So I'm outside the TV room. So right, I ain't used to go in the TV room because I was, you know what I'm saying, still like shell shocked in the TV room. So I'm outside the TV room on the wall, like really like stuck on the wall, and I'm crying, bro. I'm like, I don't know what it was. So dude was asking me, was you all right? Right? So, bro, just like you, I couldn't even speak. And man, that was, you know, that was one of the happiest feelings, like not only in prison, but like in the world. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, you know, there's a lot of good in prison, and it's a lot of like ups and downs and bad, like, you know what I'm saying? One of my situations, like when I was in California Long Park, I seen the Mexicans take over our whole unit. So it was like, is this really happening? But I know that jail like that was at any given time, anything can go. So, bruh, not only as they took over the whole unit, right? They took over the jail because it was one of the top, you know what I'm saying, dude from the Mexican Mafia I don't know what had happened or what was going on, but he had got his little posse together, and I guess something was going on with him or whatever was going on. So when it was 4 o'clock count, he was in another cell. So when the police come around and see him in the other cell, they tell him, man, you don't belong in there, go in your cell. So when they popped the doors, they whooped him down, put him in the cell, took his radio, took his keys and all that there, locked him in the cell, beat him.
Beat the police?
Beat him down, right? So you know, it's two come around to do the count.
Right.
They beat both of them. Took their radios, put them in the cell, lock them in the cell, open all the other cell units. So now, you know what I'm saying, we thinking it's a racial thing again, so everybody strapped up and everybody going in and right. So they hit the deuces. So as they hit the deuces, the police come in and they whooping the police, putting them in the cell, whooping the police, putting them in the cell. So after that go on for about 5-6 minutes, right? So they call the little Ninja Turtles, you know, that's the little Doom Squad come in and all that there. So they come in, they whoop them, right? So they got a standoff with them, so they knew that they couldn't outnumber them. So they get all the soda machines and vending machine, push them to the door so they can come in. So fast forward that, after the police know that they couldn't get in, they call the National Guard. National Guard coming with the tear gas and the rubber bullets. So I'm on the 3rd tier and I'm trying to get me a phone call and, hey man, I don't know what's going on. Y'all call down here, boo boo, and get hit with a rubber bullet. And bro, I thought that was the end. So you know, man, it was some rough moments. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, it was basically some good feeling moments, and you know what I'm saying, good moments where you can just thank God and just be joyful and peaceful and all that there. But man, you know, so you know, man, we just talk about this thing, man, because you know we don't want y'all to our young brothers and sisters, man, to follow that same path, man, because it's nothing nice, you know, but you know, right, like I said, I got my GED in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know you was, well, when we was in Atlanta, I know you was going through a lot of courses. So what are some of the courses that you was able to get in prison?
Well, I had, the first course I took was a paralegal course because I was kind of thinking that I had needed to learn some law to try to get myself out. But I remember one day I was going to the commissary and this old man, he probably was 60-something years old. His name was Mr. Jinks.
Yeah, I remember with Jinx.
So he said, hey son, come here. So I went over there and sat behind him, and during that time, that, you know, Maxine Waters and all of them, they were trying to pass the crack law. You know, so we were thinking we was gonna get the crack law when we went in. So Mr. Jinks told me, he said, hey son, you in here on that crack law? I'm like, yes sir. He said, oh man, you on your appeal, huh? I said, yes sir, I'm on my appeal. And he said, you think you're gonna win your appeal too, huh? So now I'm looking at him kind of sideways, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna win my appeal. He said, you see all these people walking on this compound? He said, they had appeals too. He said, all of them had appeals and all their appeals was denied. He said, son, they not gonna pass that crack law. So in my mind, I'm like, man, this old dude hating on me. I'm about to go home. I've been praying. I've been going to church and all that stuff, you know? And so that made me even more eager to learn the law and take the paralegal course. But, you know, as all the motion that I put in, it came back denied. And then I got kind of frustrated, and then I thought back to what he had told me about the law. You know what I mean? So that was one of the courses I took, and also I had got into the HVAC, heating, ventilation, and refrigeration, right? And I was loving it. I said, I'm gonna get in it, I'm gonna do it. This is what I'm gonna do, right? And that's when I got transferred to Mariana to a lower institute, you know. And I was taking it, and the supervisor, he liked me and all that stuff. But then they had a transfer going to Miami, and so they told me that I could either stay and take the HVAC course, or I can get transferred to Miami. And so I was like, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I know that. You come close to home, in home.
Yeah, because it took my wife and them almost say $3,000 to visit us.
Yeah.
You know, so I took the transfer to Miami. So in Miami didn't have no trades, but those are the two things amongst many that kind of stuck with me. That I took the HVAC course and the paralegal course.
Yeah. You know. Throughout our time coming to prison, you know what I'm saying, going through prison, and when we was in Atlanta together, you know, I always used to like, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like watch you and study you, and you know what I'm saying, try to figure out this thing, and you know, we was like night and day. It was, you know, you was always the type that trying to find an angle to get out. And I was on some other type of stuff, and you know what I'm saying? So what actually kept you calm in prison while we was together?
I think when I had that dream that when we were young that I was telling you about,
yeah,
and the dream said you'll get a lot of time, but you won't get out.
Yeah.
But I think what really started me off, and you was there too when Mr. Reagan,
yeah, I remember.
You know,
yeah.
Seemed like anytime we was getting ready to get into some stuff with somebody, seemed like he'll pop up.
All the time.
Right. And he told us one time, he said, hey man, y'all come here. And he would call us like he was our granddaddy or somebody. And he was like, y'all gonna get out of prison, man. Man, y'all calm down. I was in y'all position before. Y'all gonna get out of prison. You know what I mean? And so that kind of helped me. And to be honest with me, what really kind of helped me, I wanted to find a way for you to get out. So even though I was fighting my emotions, you know, if there's any kind of way I could have won anything and then gave that win to you, so you could get out first, you know, I would have did that. So I just wanted to, once I figured out, man, that I really didn't want to die in prison. And I ain't want you to die in prison either. And we could have easily, you know, when we got to Atlanta, them people, there was so much drugs in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, a person go to prison and he could be a bigger drug dealer in prison than he was on the streets. You know, and it just was that something in me, man, that told me, do right. It was something in me that said, man, do right, man. So if anything do come up, you will be eligible for it. You know what I mean? So it was just that something in my spirit, man, just told me. And then I was getting those dreams from grandma, you know, and then it seemed like every time, you know, we was about to get into something real rough and real heavy, seemed like God would send somebody to come, you know, and then confirm that what I had felt in my feeling. But, you know, it's one thing, man, it's something how when they say that you will find light in the midst of darkness, you know what I mean? And just something in my spirit believed that. And then lastly, I remember I had went to a service, and it was in the Nation of Islam. And then the guy over the rostrum, he said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad can get you out of prison overnight. And when he said that, my ears perked up. You know, he could get me out of prison overnight. You know, and that's one of the things that led me to the Nation of Islam.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, man. It's you know, man. It's always a blessing and an honor to just be around you, because you know a lot of my teachings and learnings have been like, you know what I'm saying, based around you. you know what I'm saying, and able to control my emotions, because I feel like that's all I was going off on, you know what I'm saying, not knowing any better, and you know, that helped me a lot, you know what I'm saying, through the prison, and going from penitentiary to medium high to the medium, then to the low, then to the camp, you know what I'm saying, all that was because of, you know what I'm saying, me paying attention.
So once again, Sunny Days 305, Big Sweet Sunny Days Podcast 305. Listen, if you got any children that's in prison that need somebody to write and need somebody to talk to, Sunny Days 305 Degrees, Big Sweet, and Brother Albert, Big Money Sunny that they call me, AKA, we are available.
Yes,
If there are any parents that got any children that's going astray, that need somebody to talk to, we do mentorship. This is why we start this podcast. This is Sunny Days, 305 Degrees, and my co-host, Big Sweet. Until the next one, it's 305 for life. Peace.